Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be exploring some really fascinating material. It's quite unique, actually. We've pulled together a collection of aphorisms, insights, poems, quotes, mainly from an artist, Noble Derby LeMoore.
Right.
But we're also bringing in thoughts from, other key figures, different cultures, to give it some extra depth. So our goal here is really to unpack these nuggets of wisdom.
Yeah.
We want to find those maybe surprising connections, get some fresh takes on things like art, reality, the self, our place in the world, really. Think of it as a shortcut, maybe, to getting up to speed on some pretty deep ideas,
Yeah.
but hopefully in a way that's engaging,
Yeah.
accessible.
Exactly. And the source material itself, things like Noble Derby, aphorisms and insights, and the notes and quotes collection, it's not like a step-by-step guide.
No.
It's more a rich tapestry, lots of different threads. It's really meant to make you think, inspire you, open you up to, well, the collection mentions art, poetry, words of the day, sound, imagery, and more.
An invitation to see things differently.
Precisely. It's about perception.
Okay, so let's start right there with art. Maybe thinking beyond just what it looks like on the surface. When you think about art like that, well, what does it ask of us? Are we usually just stuck on the appearance, missing the essence?
That's a great question. It implies that really engaging with art or, any creative work, it can't be passive.
Right.
You have to look for that spirit, that core essence. And Noble Derby LeMoore talks about the creative process itself, too. They say, creativity is filled with chaotic moments of inspiration and clarity. The mess is all part of the process.
The mess is part of it. I like that.
Yeah. And this process, maybe messy, maybe chaotic, is what allows us to contemplate reality as it is, past our impressions.
Okay.
It also allows us to see beyond all realms as we clear the way for new paradigms. So it's not just understanding reality.
It's reshaping it.
Exactly, reshaping how we see it.
So art isn't just something nice to look at. It's a tool. A tool for seeing differently, maybe even creating new reality. And its role in society seems huge in this view. Noble Derby LeMoore says, if art is freedom, every voice must be heard, even when they clash.
Wow, that's powerful.
It is. And they add that art can go to places where science, politics, and religion would not dare to. That's quite a claim, isn't it?
It really is. It suggests art works on a different level, maybe something more fundamental.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how it connects with other fields that seem so different. Like, science. Albert Einstein actually observed this. He said, after a certain high level of technical skill is achieved, science and art tend to coalesce in aesthetics, plasticity, and form. The greatest scientists are artists as well.
Science and art coming together.
Yeah, and Noble Derby LeMoore echoes that exact interconnectedness. They state, there is art in everything. There is science in everything. There is spirituality in everything.
Woven together.
Right, and they make this interesting point, too, that most scientists are as creative and passionate than artists. And both can lose themselves in the business and politics of things. So there's this shared, intense creativity, but also maybe shared pitfalls.
That makes sense. That passion can be all-consuming, and it makes you think about, well, what's driving it all?
Yeah.
The creation itself.
Right. It's not just about the thing you end up with.
No, it's about where it came from.
Yeah.
The energy behind it.
Exactly. And that spirit, that intention, it carries over into modern stuff, too. Think about sampling in music, for instance.
Okay. Carrying legacy.
Okay. It gives a new life to a work of art. It brings it to a new context, new places, new moods, and creates new experiences that allows new forms of communications to share new ideas.
So it's like breathing new life into something old, making it relevant again.
Precisely. A way to keep the conversation going across time.
Okay, so from creating, let's shift to how we perceive things, how we understand the world.
Right?
And that's not just about paintings, obviously. It feels like a metaphor for,
Yeah.
well, for everything. Look deeper, look again.
It's a really vital practice, isn't it? Because, like the sources suggest, perception is a constant variable. It's always changing.
It's not fixed.
Not at all. And then Noble Derby LeMoore gives us this really useful distinction to help us navigate that.
What's that?
Fact is what happened and when it happened. Truth is why it happened and how it happened.
Okay. Fact versus truth.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
It really is. It shifts the focus, right? From just reporting events, the what and when, to digging into the why and the how.
The deeper layers,
Yeah.
cause, effect, motivation.
Exactly. It's the difference between just like a list of dates and a real story, a real understanding.
That totally changes the goal then, from just knowing what happened to understanding why and how.
Right.
And this connects straight into language, doesn't it? Its power, maybe even its trickiness.
Uh-huh. So it's about the impact of the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how the narrative creates the perceptions. It really makes you stop and think how much the stories we hear or tell ourselves shape everything we believe about reality.
Absolutely. And if you tie that all together, it means understanding isn't something you just receive.
You have to build it.
You have to actively construct it. Noble Derby LeMoore says every book, just as every field of knowledge, has its own language to be decoded.
So you have to learn the language of the subject first.
You do, which leads to this really powerful call for like personal effort. There's this line in French.
Okay.
Il est important de faire ses propres recherches, de faire ses propres découvertes, d'en témoigner, de raconter sa propre histoire, de porter l'expression de soi vers l'universel.
And the translation.
It's basically saying it is important to do your own research, to make your own discoveries, to testify, to tell your own story, to carry self-expression towards the universal.
Wow. So own your learning, own your story, share it.
Exactly. It's a call to take ownership of that whole discovery process.
And while we're on that journey, figuring things out, dealing with what we don't know, the stakes feel pretty high. There's this stark line: ignorance is the poison, knowledge is the antidote. Simple, but wow.
Incredibly direct. And it leads to the question, well, how do we deal with the unknown, especially things we can't just prove with facts?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so room for both.
Right. We cannot escape the unknown. Therefore, we walk the path as conscious beings with open minds and critical thinking rather than blind faith.
So it's not about choosing one or the other, certainty or faith. It's about knowing when each applies and keeping your mind sharp, not just blindly believing.
Exactly. Using critical thinking even when facing mystery.
Okay, let's shift focus a bit now from the big picture of perception to us.
Yeah.
Individual, our uniqueness.
All right. I like that.
Yeah, it's saying don't hide the quirks. They're actually where the magic is. And then there's this call to freedom. Don't let any moments be frozen in time or space. Break the mold. Be timeless. Be boundless.
That's really liberating, isn't it?
It feels incredibly empowering. Like, just be yourself, fully, without limits.
It really does. And what's fascinating is how this connects our individual uniqueness to, well, everything else, the whole cosmos.
Whoa. Okay.
And that each of us is a microcosm of the universe we live in, expressing itself in multiple ways.
A microcosm, like a mini universe reflecting the big one.
Exactly. So it links us to this profound concept of oneness in multiplicity. Multiplicity in oneness.
We're distinct, yeah, but we're also fundamentally interconnected.
Both separate and part of the whole.
Right. It expands who we think we are.
And this touches on Noble Derby LeMoore's view of the mind, too, which is interesting. They say, the mind is merely a transit for thoughts, ideas, and imagination.
A transit, like a station.
Yeah, it has to come from the core of your being, suggesting our real source is deeper than just, the thoughts passing through.
An inner core.
And then related to this, maybe, is this very provocative statement they make, also in French.
Okay.
Je ne suis pas un humain. Je suis un extraterrestre né sur la planète Terre.
Which means, I am not a human.
Yeah.
I am an extraterrestrial born on planet Earth.
Wow. Okay, that's certainly a unique perspective on identity. Maybe feeling connected beyond just the human label.
Perhaps. It definitely highlights the complexity inside us, doesn't it?
It does, and that inner complexity is captured really well in Noble Derby LeMoore's poem, The Inside Out Way.
Right.
It talks about how all of these contrasting things exist inside us: war, ignorance, confusion, alongside joy, love, courage.
The light and the dark together.
Exactly. And the poem suggests that working with all of that, the challenges and the good stuff, is what leads towards balance, harmony, peace. It's about integration, not just trying to get rid of the bad parts.
Finding harmony within the complexity. And maybe the very center of that quest for inner harmony is, well, self-reliance. There's this incredibly strong statement from Noble Derby LeMoore.
Yeah.
There is no chain, there is no prison, there is no boundary, there is no obstacle, there is no enemy, there is nothing above, there is nothing below, there is only the self.
Wow. That puts everything squarely on the individual.
It really does. All the power, all the agency is within you. The only limits are the ones you accept, maybe.
That's a powerful idea, a call to inner strength. And it includes how we view emotions too, right? Not just strength, but feelings.
Yes. Noble Herbie LeMoore challenges this idea that only pain makes life meaningful. They say, some people under the assumption that pain solely gives substance to life. I say joy too.
Right. Both matter. Both give substance.
Exactly. And on healing from pain, there's this really insightful approach described. The true healer said, I don't want to numb your pain. I don't want you to ignore your pain. I don't want you to forget about your pain.
Okay, so what do they want?
I want you to be mindful of your pain and breathe towards healing.
So it's about acknowledging it, being present with it, and gently moving towards healing, not just shutting it out.
Exactly. Conscious awareness, not suppression.
That feels much healthier.
It does. So let's broaden out again. How do we navigate life itself? Our relationship with time, with the past?
Okay. Futuristic. How so?
Maybe. Meaning it holds potential lessons, seeds for the future that we often overlook. It's intriguing.
It really is.
And then about the present moment, the now, they say. Now we can change the course of time. Now we can make things better than they ever were.
So the power is always in the present.
Right. The now is where change happens. It's the point of leverage.
And that links directly to our own will, our own intention. Noble Derby LeMoore states it simply. The will sets the wheel in motion.
Your will starts things moving.
Yeah. And they offer this interesting strategy for dealing with, like, external challenges or forces. Do not collide with the forces.
Way to bet on.
Apparently not.
Yeah.
Find your way around them and make them flow in your favor. And then the kicker. You will soon realize that you are the forces.
Whoa. So it's about skillful navigation, redirection, and realizing your own power in the process, like martial arts almost.
Kind of, yeah. Conscious influence, not just brute force.
Okay, moving from personal power to societal views, we have a really powerful quote here from Haile Selassie I.
Okay.
He said, we must be bigger than we have been, more courageous, greater in spirit, larger in outlook. We must become members of a new race, overcoming petty prejudice, owing our ultimate allegiance not to nations, but to our fellow men within the human community.
A call for global unity beyond nationalism.
Exactly, a very idealistic vision. But then, Noble Derby LeMoore offers this really stark observation about language.
What's that?
The word race has caused more trouble to the world than the words clan, tribe, nation, or culture.
That's sobering. Pointing out the destructive power loaded into that specific word, compared to others for group identity.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the weight words carry.
It does. And on the theme of how groups interact, Montesquieu had an interesting thought about commerce. It's in French again.
Let's hear it.
L'effet naturel du commerce est de porter la paix. The natural effect of commerce is to bring peace. Because deux nations qui négocient ensemble se rendent réciproquement dépendantes. Si l'une a l'intérêt d'acheter, l'autre a l'intérêt de vendre, et toutes les unions sont fondées sur les besoins mutuels.
So trade makes nations dependent on each other.
Right. Mutual need, mutual interest, leading to peace. It's an economic argument for stability.
Interesting. It all connects back to how we see ourselves and others and what drives us, which brings us to heroes. Noble Derby LeMoore has a take on this too. We need heroes. Okay, simple enough, but then not to idolize, rather to become heroes ourselves.
So it's not about putting people on pedestals.
No, it's about finding the hero within, seeing them as inspiration for our own potential.
That's a much more empowering way to look at it, isn't it? Less passive admiration, more active becoming.
Definitely. And speaking of powerful concepts, let's talk about love.
Right.
Noble Derby LeMoore really explores how differently people see it. They list all these contradictions. Some say that love is something to live and die for. Some say that love must be killed. Some say that love is something to kill for.
Wow, extreme opposites.
Right. Some say that there is no such thing as love. Some say that love is everything. It covers the whole spectrum.
So where do they land?
They offer this definition. Love is always open to you. Love does not force you to be or to do anything beyond your will. Love is patient and meets you eye to eye. Love is as real as it gets.
That sounds very gentle, patient, respectful of free will.
It does. And then the foundation, the love contract begins with self-love.
Starts from within. You have to have it for yourself first.
Seems to be the message. It's an active state you cultivate inside before it even goes outward.
That makes sense.
And just to wrap up this section, there's a beautiful line that kind of sums up what really matters. All that is of great value, warms the heart, elevates the mind, and raises consciousness.
That's a lovely benchmark, a way to measure what's truly worthwhile.
Yeah, a great compass. So, wow, that was quite a journey, wasn't it? A real deep dive.
It really was.
We've gone through Noble Derby LeMoore's insights, woven in other voices, touched on art, creativity, reality, perception, truth,
The self, the universe.
time, action, connection. It's a lot to think about.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider as you process all this. It comes from Noble Derby LeMoore's idea of the quantic way.
Okay, the Quantic way.
Yeah. They say this way plunges us in a realm of infinite possibilities where anything may or may not occur.
Infinite possibilities.
Hmm.
Sounds exciting, maybe a little scary.
Maybe both. Because here, the constancy is uncertainty. Uncertainty is the only sure thing.
Right.
Here, we move with or against the current, versing with the unexpected. So the question to mull over is,
Yeah.
how might embracing that, embracing inherent uncertainty, the constant possibility of the unexpected, how might that change how you approach life, how you face challenges, how you keep learning?
Living with uncertainty is the baseline. That's definitely something to chew on. Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration, this deep dive into what it all means, being, creating, perceiving.
Yeah, thanks for digging in with us.
Keep exploring these ideas on your own, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.